Hi, and welcome to Chinwag. I'm Kim from Pooches Galore,
And I'm Carla at Completely Canine.
and today we are chatting about a multidisciplinary approach to dog welfare, looking after your dog training,
Yeah, dog care, uh,
kind of a bit
dog
of
ownership,
dog ownership, how to have a dog.
how to have a dog and do it with lots of help.
Yes, exactly. So we're kind of looking at more of a holistic way of having your dog and all the different things that can help, kind of the Lego bricks that help your dog's behavior overall, I suppose.
Yeah, and for them to have like a more fulfilled life in all areas of their life. And this is something I wanted to talk about a bit because it comes up all of the time when obviously I'm an agility instructor. So as an agility instructor, it's really important for me to look at the health of the dog all of the time while I'm training.
Yeah.
And I'm not qualified to do that, but I can spot things. So it's important for me as an agility trainer to work really closely alongside physiotherapists and vets locally and to make sure my clients are regularly, looking at the
Yeah.
dogs and learning about that. So because it's outside of my profession, but I can pick up on it, it's good to have that input from others as well to make sure that I'm not doing any damage to the
Yeah.
dogs, because that's really important to me. I'm probably more wary than anybody
Yeah.
in the class, but
Okay.
yeah.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, definitely.
So how have you been this week? You've been poorly, haven't you? You've had
I'm
my cold
can you hear it? It's still not good.
still there.
Yeah, if any of you remember, if you were listening last week, Kim had some coughing fits, but I think she passed it to me through Zoom. So
I don't know that that's possible, but it definitely
I
sounds like we had the same cold.
everything is online now, so I feel like
Okay.
transmitting germs also is.
It's a real stinker of a cold as well. It
It's
really
so
knocks you off
bad.
your feet.
It is so bad. It's been 9 days now. I think I've been ill, and it's still bad. Like I don't sleep,
Yeah, that
but
is bad.
yeah, coffee's keeping me going.
I
But
think
yeah.
that's my like coffee until wine time is my motto in life. So
For me, it's coffee until lemsip.
coffee, alternating coffee, loves
Yeah,
it, coffee, loves it. Yeah, it's a real
yeah,
stinker. And then mine's kind of now, mine cold probably only lasted, I don't know, 5 days or so, but then it kind of
mm,
transitioned into hay fever, which was the
yeah,
same symptoms, just slightly different. That was real fun.
yeah. So it's so hard to know, isn't it, what you're trying to
Mm.
fix?
Yeah, it's like
But
whack-a-mole at the minute.
it
Feels
literally is.
snuffly, like what's wrong with me? I'll take everything.
Yeah,
There was a
yeah.
point where I wasn't sure, and I would just take hay fever tablets and Sudafed just to make sure that we'd covered everything.
Just all of it.
Yeah, I have to get through today. What drugs have I got available?
Yeah. Well, I did that. I don't take like paracetamol. I don't take medication for absolutely anything unless it's
No.
like unless I have to take antibiotics like seriously, then I'll
Yeah.
do it. This time round, I've had 4 days back to back of like Sudafed, Beecham's, absolutely
Yeah.
everything I can, and it has made no difference
I
at
think my only
all.
thing with Sudafed is it makes my head feel a little bit clearer when I'm at work. I feel like I
Mm,
can think, but I have had to say to clients, I'm really sorry. My brain is just functioning. It's
mm,
all in there. The knowledge is there. It's just taking a little bit slower
yeah, yeah,
from my brain to my mouth.
yeah.
It's still there.
Weirdly, I go when I'm ill, I'm quite good at my job, and I don't know if it's because I'm just so like I have to be so relaxed because I just don't have the energy to worry or overthink about
Yeah.
anything. That people ask me questions, and I'm like, "There's no way I'm going to manage this. There's
No,
no way I'm going to manage this
please ask
session."
me.
And then I leave, and I'm like,
I
"Oh,
did
that went
that.
really well."
Yeah. And now I just need to sleep for 3 days to get over it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I wrote down everything because I might not remember it now.
I need to do that, like regardless.
Yeah.
There's no chance of I did a session with a couple yesterday and I can't remember if they said they could only do Wednesdays and Thursdays or they can't do Wednesdays and Thursdays. And so when I was sending
Ooh.
them new dates today, I was like, I don't know. I didn't write it down. I knew this was going to happen.
I'm so sorry. I had
I
everything
can't.
else, just not
Yeah.
that.
I've written you a 47-page report that's on point, but I can't remember which day she said you could do.
I can't be good at everything.
No, no. It's always the little things like that. Like I
Mm,
know Wednesday and Thursday were important days.
mm,
I didn't know which way around it was.
yeah.
I have a feeling they couldn't do it because I said, "Oh, it's Thursday today, and you've got an appointment." I'm sure that that's what they said,
Got
or I
you.
said to them, and they were like, "Yeah." So that's what we've gone with, but there's a high chance. Speaking of because you were saying about having all the different, like the lemsips and the baths and everything to try and make yourself feel better. It's kind of like a multidisciplinary approach to cold care.
Look how you trailed that back in. I'm so impressed.
Thank you.
That's a really good tandem. Thanks. Like drawing in.
I didn't know how I was going to do it. I started the sentence and I wasn't sure how it was going to go, but I feel like I flew through it. No one noticed.
You smashed it. Thanks. Yeah, you're right. It's a whole, like, looking at everything from the outside. How can we come in with all of our different knowledge systems and experiences, and how can we focus on this? And it's come to light today as well, actually. It's probably why it's at the forefront of my mind, is that we've got a little WhatsApp group for, there's not many people on it, but they're all professionals that work locally that all use positive reinforcement. And we've got a mixture of, to be fair, we've got no vets and physios on there at the minute, but I probably will invite them in. But we've got behaviourists, grooming behaviourists, trainers, agility trainers, gun dog assessor. There's quite a few of us. Anyway, we're kind of coming together to try and help each other with, if we've got an issue with things, if we want to meet up and chat about changes we could make, or if there's any recommendations for other professionals. And that's really nice. I think that's really nice as professionals in the industry to also have that multidisciplinary team to help you to help your clients. Yeah, definitely. I think that it's all in, kind of goes across the whole spectrum, doesn't it? So whenever I think about stuff like this, you're thinking about dog walkers as kind of your day-to-day enrichment to make sure that the dog's getting their needs met. You've got kind of your high-end, like, vet behaviourists and vets and specialist vets as well, and then kind of everything in between, from your groomers to your physios to your chiropractors to your hydrotherapists to specialist trainers, like man trailing I use a lot, scent work I use a lot. So there's like everything that is related to something that happens with a dog fits into this kind of sphere, doesn't it? Yeah, it's great to have somebody in your pocket from every industry that you would know is reliable and you trust to be kind. Yes. To be nice. Yeah. For me, it was always finding the dog walkers that would do the solo walks. That was always the trickiest ones, who would also follow a behaviour plan as well. Yeah, for sure. We have a few of them. Actually, one of my clients, this is really nice. She messaged last week. She was an old client, and her dogs, her labby brothers, ended up being diagnosed with quite a rare genetic condition that affected their legs, and it ended them with some dysplasias as well. So she did loads of stuff with our physio, working on building up strength, and they went in for operations, they did stuff with hydrotherapy, all of that stuff, and now, because she's been doing it for so long with them, she's decided to set up her own business as a dog walker, specifically for dogs that need physiotherapy support and stuff. I was like, yes, that's so awesome. Good. And it is, I think, also for us as well, it's really nice. I've made some, like, of my closest friends are people that are in the industry doing different things, chiropractors. One of my close friends is a vet physio, and when Millie had her leg amputated, I was like, Holly, help me. What am I doing? Even just with things like how to set the house up to be more adaptable for her, even though she ignored everything I did. But that was of course. Orthopedic £600 bed. I want to lie on the cold floor. My dad's friend runs a carpet shop. And I messaged him, and he was like, yeah, just go and get like all the carpet tiles you need. So I went and got a massive stack of carpet tiles and put them all down, and we were going to stick them onto because we've got tiled floor, and she just walked around every single one. Stuff. Let's not worry about them. I use them for grooming now. I've used them as like the place for dogs to learn how to be groomed on. All my clients that are in that have a carpet tile. Gradually getting rid of them. Just collecting hair. They're really expensive to buy, and they're like like £5 each or something, and we had 50 of them. I've got loads of little mats, so I like to have lots and lots of mats that are non-slip ones. And well, Millie would just walk around. They just live in my van. I use them for various things. I've got one now at my front door, but it's for dog training when I use it at home. There are lots of things that are
adaptable in my world. One for dog training, one not so much for dog training. But yeah, I think it is important to, as somebody who refers clients to other people, to be able to have that list of trusted professionals in your pocket that you know you can pick up the phone to and you can ring and they will work in a manner that you want them to.
Yeah, sure. And there's I mean, you work both ways, so you get referrals from vets and then you will refer back to the vets and you'll talk with them, won't you?
Yes.
If there's an ongoing problem or if you found something new. And like, this is the relationship I have more so with the physio than anything. And that's really nice, because even if the human doesn't necessarily understand all of the information, if I'm working with that dog as well and I get permission from the owner, me and the physio will just talk about that dog and I will know how to adapt things in agility. I will know how to change that for them so I'm not making it worse, or I'll incorporate more of those exercises into my warm-ups with all of the dogs, just so that we're trying for more angles as well.
For me as well, especially with the vets, because as a behaviourist I have to work under vet referral, so the referrals always come, so the client might come to me first and say my dog's doing X, Y and Z, and then they go to their vets and then their vet refers them back to me. It's a bit of a silly system, but it does work in as much as they do need a vet check. They need to make sure they're not in pain, that there's no underlying issues that's causing the behaviour. And then when I've met with the dog and done their report, the vet also gets an abridged version of the report. But then that means that channel of communication is already open as well. So if anything develops, and because especially with vets, often, especially with small dogs, they go from the waiting room to the consult room and they get picked up and put on a table. The vet then examines them, feels them all over, says there's nothing wrong. The dog then gets lifted down and walks out. The dog's not necessarily going to show that they're going to hop with their back right leg every 20 steps. But when I take them out for a walk and a session in the park, I'm going to pick up on that. So then you can refer back as well. So when we spend more time with dogs, so we might be out for an hour, we're seeing the dogs in a different way to a consultation room, which is part of it.
And I like to, from talking to the vets that I train with, and also from the physios that I train with, it's really helpful in classes if you've got 2 minutes to video the dog as a trainer, or to video the dog at home, or for the owner to do it as well. So you can take that to your vet, you can send it to your vet, send it to your physio, so they can see them in a natural environment where that thing's actually happening.
Totally. I often say to people, like if we were on a walk, I'm like, let's just video that and then you can show your vet. But if someone says it on the phone, I will say, grab a video of it next time, even if you've got loads of videos of your dog not doing it, you'll capture it eventually, and then you can show them it, because it must be hard for a vet to see them for 10 minutes and try and work out something, and especially in quite a stoic dog like a Dachshund, they're not necessarily going to be as dramatic as a spaniel would be about stuff.
And then with the videos as well, once you've got them, you can compare it to videos later. If you are starting to do pain trials or you are starting to do physio, you can see a difference then. And also for me, I tend to do it because I'm like, I'm not sure, but I think there's something going on, but maybe it's not enough for them to have to go to the physio. So if I've got a little video clip of different angles, I'll send it over to like Eve, and I'll be like, can you just look at this and tell me what you think? And she'll go rear, left, hip, whatever. She'll tell me and I'll go, that's what I was looking at, thank you. So I'll send them over to you. So that's really helpful as well. Yeah,
absolutely. And even with like your vet physios as well, they'll need referring from the vet too. So I think it's really important to always remember that for most of these things, it goes from the vet out. So to make sure that everything's working in the right way, because the vet is always the overarching person in charge of a dog's health. And it's also worth like doing that as well, because you can get your insurance can cover various different things. It can't cover a trainer. It can cover a behaviourist.
A qualified behaviourist.
So generally you have to either be you need to be on the ABTC register as a CAB or a CCAB. So you do have to, there will be certain accreditations that you couldn't just go to Joe Bloggs who says he's a behaviourist. I'm sorry if there is an accredited Joe Bloggs out there.
There will be somewhere.
I'm sure in the world somewhere there is, but yeah, you have to. There are quite strict rules, and I do get asked for my qualifications to be sent over sometimes with the forms that we have to do. So, but yeah, I do insurance forms daily almost. It feels like daily. I'm sure it isn't, but it does feel like that. But yeah, your physio appointments, all of so much is covered under insurance that people aren't aware of. So.
Yeah, and if people don't know that, like, don't know to look at their insurance and think, like, we could cover other services on this as well. And you do, obviously, I won't go into insurance because all of them are different, and it'd be a bit of a boring.
Let's talk about your insurance policy.
But it is worth, like, if you have a dog and you have an insurance policy, it's worth contacting them and just saying, in the event of this, what am I insured for physiotherapy, blah blah blah, and how much for, and you'll know then, at least. It's
absolutely. Yeah, because there is, I remember watching an episode of The Super Vet, and there was a woman, and she was like deciding whether she could afford to literally save her dog or not. And it was kind of at that point that I was like, I never want to have to make a decision like that based on whether I can afford it or not. And if I can afford the insurance, then that's definitely what I'm going to go for, because it does allow you a little bit more flexibility with just standing there and saying yes.
Yeah.
So, or both of Millie was insured up to the hilt.
Yeah, well, she's better.
Because she was, Stanley is too. Stanley is insured. But yeah, it is worth checking, seeing what's covered, and then seeing what's going to work best for your dog. Physio might work best, chiropractic might work best, massage might work best. There's lots of different elements that might work better for your dog's specific injury, and also maintenance as well. It doesn't have to be just when there's a problem, but like ongoing maintenance, especially if you have a sporting dog, a show dog, something like that, where they're going to be doing a lot. I would definitely say maintenance on top of stuff is really good. Yeah,
definitely. And there's like so something we do regularly now is we will, and you do it too, is you'll use the vets for social visits for your training sessions. So actually working with the vets and going and saying, when is your quietest time for us to come and do a cooperative care session, or to get the dog, comfortable, or a puppy comfortable coming in and just doing a social visit so that's less scary. If you talk to them and ask them when their quieter times are, generally they'll say, do you know what, we've got a room free, do you want to come in and just do it, and we'll do whatever you need us to do.
Especially with vets and groomers, it actually makes their job easier in the long run. Because if they have dogs that are easier in the practice, then that's going to be easier when they have to give injections, or if there's something wrong with the dog and they need to examine it. So actually, we're not doing them a favour, but we kind of are doing, obviously we're doing it for the dog primarily, but we're also doing it to make other people's lives easier as well.
Absolutely. And then there's also like more niche things as well. So we've got a local grooming behaviourist. So grooming behaviourists, you probably wouldn't think as a pet owner that they would exist, but they do, and they're probably only more of a recent thing. But these people will help if your dog has such severe issues with grooming that they can be a groomer and a behaviourist and help you through that at the same time, rather than you keep sending your dog off to a groomer who doesn't understand the cooperative care work you're trying to do. So it's worth looking at.
I have certain groomers that aren't grooming behaviourists, but they are groomers that will follow my plan. And that's what I need. So, and because I'm a control freak as a behaviourist, like when they start going off piste, I'm like, no, thank you.
It kind of works for your job to be a control
freak. That's why I like my job. But it's very much that I'm kind of, we've worked so hard at home. I now need to move that into a grooming salon, and it needs to be the same. We can't start adding stuff in that.
Because it doesn't make sense. Like, and I have clients before who have done some of this work with me, but their dogs still go to a groomer who will put them on a table and attach them by the neck and the hip, and the dog has no escape route. So you might get some progress in what you're doing, but you're going to lose it so much quicker because you're just still throwing the dog into situations where it's stressed around grooming things. So
Yeah.
I think I was going to say the gap in the market, the gap in my kind of multidisciplinary team is probably in nutrition.
Okay, yeah.
Big void for me, because I've got some people, there's biases, there's a lot of bias, I think, in canine nutrition, depending on where you've started from. So yeah, that's where I struggle a little bit.
Yeah, I have someone online, I can't remember what they're called now off the top of my head, that is a kind of a all-encompassing, will just, as long as the diet is suitable for the dog, it doesn't kind of matter what it is as such. And that's what I like, because they don't work, diets don't work for all families, all situations, all dogs. So it's about working through, is it better on a kibble, is it better on a raw, is it better on a wet, etc., etc. So yeah, so I think it's finding that person, isn't it?
It's finding that person, it's the relationship.
Yeah. And just being able to trust that if you signpost someone there, that they're going to get the same level that they've come to expect.
Yeah.
So I also think, for me as well, finding specialist dog trainers is really useful. So I do use man trailing a lot in my behavior plans. I'm not a man trailing trainer. I don't want to be either. So it's not something that I particularly want to set up a school for. So I have certain people that I can use in the local area, and I can signpost my clients to them. So it's not even like a different discipline. Within my own discipline, I have my own strengths and weaknesses. And if I want to do it, I'll go and learn it. And if I don't, I find someone else.
Yeah.
I can't learn it all. I can't do every kind of training under the sun. So it's finding that specialist person that I can go, actually, I've got this really worried dog, really worried about people, but I think man trailing would really help because they love doing scent work. And so I don't want them to have to go right up to the person. I just want them to find them at a distance to which they feel comfortable. And then they can go and do that.
Yeah.
So it's, even within, or if they need gun dog or agility or something as an outlet, it's finding the person who's going to teach them, but within the needs of that dog, rather than must get them to cross as an agility star.
Yeah. And it's even if you do teach that, but you don't have the appropriate environment for that dog or the setup for them.
Yeah.
Do you have someone else that has a better one? Because you're all there for the dog. You should be all there for the dog. So the point is, if you can liaise together as trainers, as behaviourists or whatever, and you can provide that, or someone wants an online and you don't do online, and you know what I mean? Why go, sorry, I don't do it, and then leave it?
Yeah, exactly.
Why not just have somebody that you can, funnel that work to, and they'll do it back. So if there's any trainers or behaviourists listening in, I don't know whether anyone does, but it's really valuable to have that, to build those connections.
Yeah, definitely it is. And it's as for me myself, it's understanding enough about each topic, understanding enough about man trailing that I know which dogs need it. Whether I probably could just about pull a man trailing session together from my knowledge, but I do think having a more professional person would be better.
Yeah.
So it's finding that team. And whether you're a groomer, if you're a groomer, you probably need a trainer and behaviourist in your back pocket. If you're, so that you can say this, and knowing at what point that dog needs to go to see them as well. So it works every which way.
Yeah, I kind of like it. I didn't used to be very good at this. I used to be like, no, as asking for help means you are a failure, and then you go, oh, hang on, I'm not a vet, so actually I do need to ask for help. I don't know this.
No, I do. I think more so with my behaviour work, I love chatting through cases. I will chat through cases all the time, because it sometimes that they can be a bit all-consuming. I've got a couple of cases on at the moment where there is multiple problems, all of which are a priority. And it's kind of known, chatting through, because I think one thing might be a priority, someone else might have a different idea about it. And so just chatting through stuff, or saying, if you thought about this or that or the other, it
or
does
am I
just
missing
help.
something?
And And I really enjoy that, and I enjoy doing it for other people as well. I love problem solving for other people's clients as well. I think it's really nice, but that took me quite a long time, and to be quite safe in my own feelings about being a behaviorist. Because when you're a baby behaviorist, there's so much stigma around whether you're accredited or not, or whether you're this or not, or that, or you've got these letters or that letter, or you're this register on that register. That if you were asking for help, it's almost like, yeah, but you're not a CAB, so therefore it's quite challenging to talk to you about it. But equally, to become accredited, you have to have a case log, so it's tricky. But you have to.
And it's so interesting because, like, even me, like, talking to somebody about a behavior problem who isn't a behaviorist, and if I just talk it through, sometimes they can just throw in these like things where I'm like, I didn't even consider that bit. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, people are just quite good at problem solving or looking outside the box, or, you know, might have had a random experience with one random dog once, where they're like, hold on, this thing happened with this dog. Are you seeing this? And you're like, oh my God, wow, that wouldn't even go there.
I was talking to my friend who's a behaviorist about a pug that I was seeing, and she was like, how curly is the dog's tail? And I was like, really curly? She was like, yeah, I think it's that. And I was like, oh. She's like, because the curl of a pug's tail can twist its spine a little bit. So she was like, she was. So we were chatting about that, and I was like, I would never have thought to look at the curl of the tail to see. It's just interesting.
Yeah, really interesting.
Yeah, so I think it's important, and I also think it's not a red flag, but maybe an orange flag if people aren't prepared to refer outside of that. Like, I refer to vet behaviorists. Trainers should refer to like, everyone should know where their limit is, and then should be able to move on from it.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think it's maybe kind of dark orange flag.
Dark orange leaning on blood orange.
Kind of flag if they're not prepared to do that. And why not? So even if it's just referring back to the vet, even if it's just that they go, I think your dog's, limping.
I had this yesterday. I have it quite a lot, to be fair, with the vets, because the vets will obviously not, like we were saying, they don't get long to assess a dog, and they can only go by what the owners say. Like, they can go by their normal checks, they can listen and they can watch the video or whatever, but they've only got the information that you've just given them then. So what they'll then say is, can you go and see your trainer again, and see if it's like more of a behavior thing, or see a behaviorist if it's a behavior thing. And then you go, actually, you've just mentioned this, and the other day it was about food, and they were like, this particular thing happens when the dog has eaten about 15 minutes, half an hour after. And I was like, go back,
I've done that one as well.
And you're going to mention that one, because it's the only
that's
time
the bit of information they needed.
That's on, and I can't train anything around that, so go back.
Eating behavior is really interesting. It comes up a lot with things like resource guarding. My dog's fine, and then they eat.
This dog was just going outside and lying down the side of the house, and it was only ever after eating, but a little while after, and then it came out she was starting to not like her food much anymore, wasn't eating it, and I was just like, okay. Okay.
But it's also the things that often the dog has done for a long time that have become quite normal within like the family's daily routine. Like, the dog eats, and then the dog goes outside and lays down, and it becomes normal, and so they don't mention it. And then if sometimes when you're at the house or something, like, do they always do that? Like, interesting.
Have you changed the food? No. So it's always been the same, and the food's always been the same. Dogs always react to the okay.
Interesting.
No,
I think. And then they go, really? I'm like, yeah. This is the time we go back.
We go back to the vets, I'm afraid. We do those tests.
Bless them. I also think as well, for people who are novice dog owners, the difference between what they have just learned as being normal, and then for someone who sees a lot of dogs as well, there can be a bit of a, I would just thought it was
definitely
normal.
Yeah, they wouldn't think about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and also these two dogs were Cypriot rescues, and I was like, the way that their coping mechanisms and their reactions to things are probably going to be quite different to a
Yes.
dog that you've had here. So actually, what we have to do is we have to really nitpick all of the
Yeah.
little experiences and behaviours and guess, because they'll have had likely had a beginnings of their life where they've not communicated that to
Yeah.
people because there's no people to
There's no,
communicate
yeah,
it to.
exactly.
Yeah.
And their communication style, therefore, is quite different.
Yeah.
But it's normal for them.
Yeah.
But it's
So
abnormal.
you might not see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So many complexities within it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, good.
Sure.
Well, hopefully that was helpful for people and understanding why we refer out a little bit as well. What kind of the parameters are around that.
Yeah. And to hear like that we're doing a lot of this in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't just go home and do nothing. We go, oh, about 3 dogs today I've thought about, and I need to contact all these people and ask them.
I also think as well, I don't think people often realize how much we're doing in the background during a session.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Analyzing
gait.
Yeah. Analyzing gait. All of those things that we just do. And if we don't notice anything, we're not going to say anything. You're not going to say, oh, your dog looks like they walk normally. Like, it's not probably something I would say unless it had come up. I'm not just going to blurt it out. Whereas I would say, do they? I went to see a pug the other day and it's left front foot sat turned out. And I was like, do they always sit like that? She's like, no, sometimes it's the other side. Yeah, so if it's normal, we're not going to say it, but we are analysing it at the same time.
Yeah, it's kind of helpful when you don't know the dog sometimes as well,
Yeah.
because you go in and you're like, new dog, you analyse, go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, literally, it's like scanning.
Yeah.
Can you get them to walk towards you?
Yeah. I think sometimes as well, we're not aware that we're doing it ourselves. It becomes so ingrained. I mean, I don't know if you do, but I'll see a dog walking down the road and I'll be like, oh,
yeah,
that back left leg looks a bit dodgy.
All
not my
time.
dog, nothing to do with me. I'm just doing it automatically.
Yeah, I spoke to Eve about this. I was like, you know, when you like qualified as a vet physio, she's like, yeah. I was like, did your life change and you just get really annoyed with everybody because all of the dogs are just like wonky? She's like, yeah, all the time. She's like, it drives me insane. She says, but there's just a level of everyone's a bit wonky that I'm gonna have to just accept, because I can't fix every dog, and not everyone wants to hear that their dog's wonky. So.
But that's the same as a trainer, isn't it? I think, you shouldn't call your dog like that. That's not gonna help. Or you should have rewarded your dog at that point. Or that was excellent training. Yeah. So yeah, fabulous. Right then. See you next week.
See you next week, love.